BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. Black Box Ned 88 on Instagram for the bonus podcast. Recently on this channel, we did an upload called King Diamond on Satanism, where we were talking about the Danish musician King Diamond and what he called satanic as a philosophy. King Diamond was someone that got pulled into the Anton LaVey school of thought. Anton LaVey is, of course, the person from the Church of Satan, which rose to prominence in California in the 1960s. And there was a particular tenet or rule or belief in the Church of Satan that you should only share your opinion if you are 100% certain that it is welcome. And it reminded me of what we can see here in the book, The Dream of Mortal Life, the one that we'll be discussing today, because there's something very similar that is mentioned in that book. And there's also another reason for today's upload, because I have finished reading all the material in The Dream of Mortal Life. They have put it out as an excerpt, if you will, and by they I mean the group Marvelous Work and Wonder has shared this book, and perhaps they will release the rest of it in the future, or maybe it will be repackaged in a different way. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But let's use this as an introductory piece. The spokesperson for Marvelous Work and Wonder is an individual named Christopher Nemelka, who said something once in an interview when he said, "I don't ever want to hear what you think about anything. Don't ever come to me with your idea or say that you know something. If I have a plan that will work and that is working, and then you start telling me what you think, that means that you don't care about success. You don't care about solutions. You're just trying to fuel your own ego and your own sense of self-importance." And those were some bold statements, but they definitely stayed with me. And perhaps I was paraphrasing a word or two in there, but that's the general idea. And when I was reading that stuff about the Church of Satan and Anton LaVey, that was the first thing that I thought of. Wow, this sounds oddly similar to the things that are expressed by Marvelous Work and Wonder via Christopher Nemelka. But what I can say after reading the books, we're also going through the book Human Reality, which is written by the same group, Marvelous Work and Wonder. And I'm sure that Christopher Nemelka has a lot of input in these books, and I mean, definitely seems like his writing style. However, they are published anonymously, and they're just attributed to the group Marvelous Work and Wonder. What I can say about this is that they do elaborate on this. I mean, that sounds like a bold statement. I don't ever want to hear what you think about anything. But what they say is that there needs to be a balance in life between respecting the individual and contributing to collective well-being. In fact, they just say that one of the true mysteries of life is how do we maintain that balance between maintaining the balance between collecting the collective well-being of the group and a person's right to individuality. And I do agree that that is a mystery, and that is really the source of a lot of conflict in life. Perhaps you'll hear some other things about the mysteries of life as the way it is expressed in Hinduism when they say that the mystery of mankind is man to himself. Perhaps this is like the branching point when they're just like, how do we have this balance between collective well-being and the right to individuality? And they talk about this on the show Coffee with Chris, which is hosted by Nemelka, the person who's affiliated with the books that you see here. And they're simply saying that share what you believe, say what you believe, but when you're going to go over to somebody else and just try to attack someone else's idea in an unprovoked manner, then that is just unwarranted and uncalled for. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this. Hey, all opinions are welcome here, 100% welcome. Forget any of that stuff. There are no boundaries. Please share what you think in the comments section about anything that we're going to be going through here. Some of the other things that we will talk about in The Dream of Mortal Life might be better expressed in their own words. So I would like to jump over to the book and we can just have read a short paragraph here that they have written. Mortals can more easily understand this as being in control of a dream, in a dreamlike state. In our mortal dreams, which we cannot consciously control, we are subconsciously aware of ourselves as an actor in the dream, but we also realize that we are watching ourselves in the dream and we cannot consciously control it. A conscious part of us wants to participate in the dream. This is exactly how advanced humans prepared and cared for mortals in a place called the Garden of Eden. And when they say Garden of Eden there, The Dream of Mortal Life talks a lot about how there are parallels between biblical literature as well as also just Judeo-Christian literature, Islamic literature, all of them, all religious literature has parallels to humanity, the human thought process, symbolic representations, allegory, metaphor, and inspiration. They're all about that pathway. And some people say that you should never talk about politics or religion, but I just say, hey, why not? No subject is off limits. Anything is fair game. So I would like to tie one thing into this: consciousness, dreamlike state, and just humanity in general. In 2014, I was reading a post on The Quantum Activist. The Quantum Activist was a film by Dr. Amit Goswami, a physicist from India, who is now in the United States. I believe he's at the University of Oregon, or either Oregon or Oregon State, but one of those. Now, what they were saying is, and by they, I mean a woman was just posting on the forum. I don't even remember her name, but what she was saying is that she wanted to share something with us when she said that you have the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And what she believed was there was a parallel in some way between conscious, subconscious, and quantum cosmic consciousness. Quantum cosmic consciousness just meaning your connection to everything. What is the parallel? Saying that the Father is the connection to the subconscious. The Son is the connection to what we consciously experience here on Earth. And the Holy Spirit is quantum cosmic consciousness, or there's a parallel between the Holy Spirit and quantum cosmic consciousness, your role in everything, or your mind has the ability to experience all the collective awareness that everybody has, the totality of everything in the experience of your human mind, quantum cosmic consciousness. I think it's pretty simple. But what do we make of that? Well, I definitely say that's the stuff that they're talking about here in the book, The Dream of Mortal Life. They said something that is almost identical to that. Whoever she was that posted that on the Quantum Activist Forum about 6 years ago, she did it much more articulately than I did. However, I think that there is something to say, though. And the big thing that I would note about Marvelous Work and a Wonder and The Dream of Mortal Life is they believe things. They are not just rambling irrationally, but they don't always tell you what they believe. And this is perhaps one of the reasons about why they're called a cult. And perhaps this is also one of the reasons why Anton LaVey was called a cult. Because look what they're saying. Do not share your opinions. Believe what we tell you. And also, we're not going to give everything away. You have to learn about us on your own. Let us reel you in slowly. Or they're dropping the clues, and then your curiosity gets running, so then you just got to go down the pathway. But they talk about these advanced humans. Did you hear that when we read off the paragraph, like advanced humans in the Garden of Eden? What is an advanced human? They don't always share some things. When we did our book discussion on the true history of religion, which is by the same organization, they kept talking about these advanced humans. Sometimes they say that they're in another universe or they're in another dimension. And I was like, is this just a metaphor for the soul or something? It's written as if they're talking about the soul, but in The Dream of Mortal Life, they say that the advanced human is almost like the subconscious. Think about what we said, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and the Father, subconsciousness, and that someone can go through the process of brain transfiguration. And I don't know, because they don't say this very bluntly. My interpretation of this is that they're saying someone who's been through the process of brain transfiguration has their conscious mind connected to the subconscious mind. And of course, we're always present through quantum cosmic consciousness. That's just your awareness of the totality of everything, and as well as all the other minds. I mean, like, there's even that saying, how do you prove that other minds exist than your own? I mean, it really is some gray area in terms of the way we look at the scientific world. So when we have that type of setup, I think that it's a very fascinating discussion, but where are the hard facts, and where does the metaphor end? And also, what are they being metaphorical about? I can totally accept it if you just want to say, okay, the advanced human is the subconscious, what you're actually thinking. I'm not exactly sure how you go through the process of brain transfiguration. That is another secret that has never been revealed. But after you've gone through this process, and if you're connected to the subconscious, you have your conscious mind and you're connected to the subconscious, then you become what is known as a true messenger, or perhaps the real Illuminati. Like, the real Illuminati is just what they call people throughout history who were true messengers. And there's some value in, like, learning about how there are people in history who have good ideas, and there are people in history who have bad ideas, good actors and bad actors. And when some people are accused of being cult leaders and they're just putting out pamphlets to manipulate people, one of the first tactics that we talked about with cult leader mentalities is that they discredit all the ways of the past. And I can tell you flat out, this group, Marvelous Work and a Wonder, does not discredit all the ways of the past. They talk very highly of people like Socrates. They talk very highly of people like Isaiah, as well as even Muhammad to a certain extent. They're saying there are people throughout history who had good ideas. There are good actors throughout history, but they're few and far between. And there are a couple reasons for that. With the dream of mortal life, though, I definitely think that they're talking a lot about how ideas can be used to control people. And with the group, Marvelous Work and a Wonder, which has three sides, as we said, the real Illuminati, Marvelous Work and Wonder, and their political side is called the Humanity Party. Now, they have this bold claim that politics and religion are one and the same. Politics and religion exist because they're both about ideas. If you go back far enough and you explore the concepts of politics and religion, maybe you'll just hear that they're all about ideas. And some people even say a religion is a set of ideas. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're like both of them use ideas to get people to do things. As a civilization advances, people use ideas to get other people to go along with a plan or go along with a tradition, or even just to keep somebody from killing them. It's like, hey, you can pick up a bigger rock than I can. Oh yeah, well, if you kill me with that rock, you'll go to hell, and that will be really bad. Oh, perhaps that person won't kill you with the rock then. And I'm paraphrasing some of their previous material once again. But to talk about some of this stuff, where does the metaphor end? First and foremost, I don't really think that politics and religion are one and the same. I do not accept that because religion is very specific to the spiritual world. I mean, I think maybe they're conflating belief systems. Like you can have a political belief and a religious belief, and they're saying, oh, well, people believe things. Yeah, but that's not specifically religious. I don't accept that. And I would love to hear what you think about any of these things here. But as for this dream of mortal life, saying that our true advanced human self is the subconscious, and that is, I also do not know if that's true because I would need to hear a little bit more of supporting points. And I said that they haven't revealed everything in the book yet is because the final thing here talks about the light of the moon. They said, by the light of the moon. That's the last thing in this excerpt in the dream of mortal life. And what is there to say about that? The Light of the Moon might be a future book that they're going to do, and it might be repackaged in a different way, but it's going to be like a biography on their spokesperson, Christopher Nemelka. But I think the word moon is very interesting because there was this question on Facebook. You know, like how Facebook has that little questions app, and they just asked, what is the weirdest thing you've ever thought that you have never shared publicly? And I would love to hear your responses to that in the comment section. What is the weirdest thing you've ever thought that you've never shared publicly? And I'll tell you mine. I didn't write it out, of course, because I didn't want to share it publicly, but I will share it with you guys now. And that is that you have Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Trinity. I thought just once, is there some type of parallel? Not, saying literally, but is there some type of parallel between Father, Son, and Holy Spirit and Earth, Sun, and Moon? Meaning that the Sun, S-O-N, that's the Earth, what we experience here on Earth. The Father is the Sun, S-U-N, like the ball of lightning again in the sky. That's the Sun, the light that guides you, the same way that parents should guide children. And the Moon is the Holy Spirit, the thing that guides you in the dark. Once again, the totality of everything, the Holy Spirit moves through you, and, the lessons of the past have created you, cause and effect, and also what would guide you in the dark. If the Holy Spirit moves through you, then that's what's guiding you. The moon. So you have Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Is there some connection between the Holy Trinity and the Earth, Sun, and the moon? And, I thought about that, but what I would say is, I think that perhaps is almost on par with conscious, subconscious, and quantum cosmic consciousness, because you could take three of anything and just say that, oh, okay, look, it's a retelling of the Holy Trinity. You could take seven of anything and be like, hey, seven wonders of the world, and try and draw a particular type of connection. It doesn't mean that some of them are wrong. And the last thing that I would like to say about this dream of mortal life is that they talk about stories and symbolic representations, and the psychologist Jordan Peterson likes to do this a lot, and even better than Jordan Peterson, Carl Jung, Jordan Peterson's inspiration. And I mean, Peterson is a Jungian psychologist, we should say. But my criticism of Jordan Peterson is that he got so hampered down on the word story, because Peterson and Jung had this thing about there's this concept or idea that is greater than the material world, that the human psyche has the ability to get in touch with. And the way that people would get in touch with this and express it into words is by using the stories. But it was like, it's not only about the stories themselves, it's about the idea that is behind it. And, I mean, as we said, symbolic representations, allegory, metaphor, and inspiration. But, like, it's really just not about, okay, these are characters in a story that teach children a moral lesson. No, that is just so superficial. What is that concept or idea that is greater than the material world that the human psyche has the ability to get in touch with in the first place? That's the real question, or that's the question that I find much more enthralling, and that's what I would really want to have an answer to. And if you have anything that you would like to share about any of this material, please drop something in the comments section below. I don't really mean to talk about these things because I want to, once again, push somebody's belief system around. I would instead just to say, I read a book. These are some of the ideas in the book, and let's talk about it. I mean, okay, well, there is one more thing that is in the book, and I wasn't even thinking that I would mention it because I think it's really awkward. And they're just saying that people manipulate other people with ideas. You know how we said politics and religion are one and the same? Why do we have politics? Why do we have religion? It's to control people's sex lives, because that's another claim that is made in the book, and I don't even really want to talk about that too much because I'm all for wacky ideas on the internet. That particular wacky idea, I just don't have a lot to say about it other than, that's about all I can really say, but I'd be curious what you guys would have to say, and once again, I'm just trying to share some ideas in a book that I thought were maybe containing a grain of truth, or maybe even bigger things than a grain of truth. It's like you got a bunch of pebbles on the beach. Some of them are valuable and some of them are useless, and you got to find them. So what do you have to say about any of the material that we put forward? The question that I would like to hear most about you is, do you think that there is any connection to the subconscious and spirituality and religion? That would be one that I would really love to see you guys share some things about in the comments section below. And also, what might even be more fascinating to you is, what is one thing that you think is a really weird idea that you've never admitted publicly? I'm not going to say anything nasty about you, and I would just invite everybody else to share these, in somewhat of an open-minded manner, not really trying to start any type of burn the house down type of debate. But what is one thing that you have shared that you would like to share that you think is a really different type of idea that you've never told anyone before? I told you mine about the parallel between the Holy Trinity and the Earth, Sun, and the Moon. Maybe, or maybe I'm just like finding three things and just saying, hey, we could do that with anything. Ketchup, mustard, and relish. Which one is Jesus Christ? What do you have to say about any of this material? And if you like this upload, you can hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're welcome to do so. But most importantly, please drop some comments in below so we can continue the discussion. And I will see you on Instagram for the bonus podcast. Until next time.